News Day continues here on One News Now. I'm Dani Laurel. President Bongbong Marcos urges the Senate to take its time in scrutinizing the proposed Maharlika Investment Fund. This comes after Senator Mark Villar filed the Senate version of the bill that's more than a month since the House of Representatives passed its own version. Senate President Mig Zubiri initially said that the Senate may pass the proposed measure after the Holy Week break, citing pressure from the President. In a panel interview with members of the media, Marcos Jr. admits he is hopeful for its immediate passage, but he emphasizes that it is more important for lawmakers to, quote, get it right.
Mas maganda na matapos sa lalong madaling panahon. Pero hindi naman dapat imadali dahil napaka-importante lahat ng bawat salita na ilalagay mo dun sa batas na yun. May kabuluhan yun. Hindi mo basta't pwedeng, tama na yan, okay na. We have to get it right. We cannot make that getting it wrong would be a very bad mistake.
Marcos also assures the public that the Maharlika Fund will not be used as a money laundering device.
You cannot use funds of the GOCC. Pera ng gobyerno, what will the government spend? It was a proposal. It's not something that we have adopted. Hindi yun basta sige, bigyan niyo ako ng ilang bilyon dolyar, tapos lalagay lang akong bahala na dyan. It's not like that at all. And in fact, even on our end, we will only deploy funds when there is a very specific project to be paid for. So money laundering just won't come into it.
Senators grilled PAGCOR officials over their lack of urgency to act on illegal activities related to Pogos. Camille Samonte with this report.
Dito lumalabas yung conflict of interest eh. Because you're dalawa kayo eh. Yung kumikita kayo on one hand, pero on the other hand, you're regulating. But your regulation, makita naman natin, pang bata. Mabagal pa.
That's what Senate Committee on Ways and Means Chairman Win Gatchalian said to state-run Philippine Amusement and Gaming Corporation or PAGCOR upon learning that it is still allowing two Pogo service providers to operate despite their involvement in a kidnap for ransom case. Pogos involved are Brickhearts Technology Incorporated and MOA Cloud Zone Corporation, both of which are registered in PAGCOR. Senator Grace Poe revealed this during her privileged speech last month after a Chinese national was kidnapped to work for the said Pogos.
Dapat kayo na gumawa ng aksyon para mag-investigate. Kick them out immediately. These are embroiled in kidnap for ransom. I don't think no amount of penalty will stop them from doing this.
Tama po kayo, Mr. Chair. Ngayon po, sisimulan ko na po na ayusin po ito.
Ano na ngayon? January 23 na.
We apologize for that, but we will really closely coordinate with the PNP and the NBI to resolve this as soon as possible.
Senator Gatchalian, however, is still not convinced.
Sino naman matatakot sa atin? Kung mabagal na yung aksyon, 500,000 pesos lang ang fine. That's why Senator Bato is absolutely correct. That's why none of the Pogo operators, especially those who are involved in crime, respects us. Because mabagal tayo.
For Senator Bato de la Rosa, Pogos involved in criminal activity should be banned immediately and their employees must be deported as well.
It's about time na we have to assert our supremacy over them. Palayasin na niyo yun dito. You don't have business to be here in our country. Ganon yung ugali ninyo. Sama ng ugali ninyo.
It was also revealed during the hearing that the third-party auditor of PAGCOR faked its credentials. Gatchalian said they discovered that Globalcom RCI doesn't have a business permit and its business address cannot be found. Gatchalian recommends to conduct a blue ribbon investigation on the PAGCOR's bidding process for third-party auditor. President Bongbong Marcos, meanwhile, admits that while Pogos affect the reputation of the country's security, there should be enough basis before the government permanently bans them all.
The problem are the illegal ones, not the legal ones. And if it's adjudged that there is a social cost, it might not be worth it. The cost might not be worth what they're paying in taxes anymore.
For News 5, Camille Samonte, we are One News.
Despite a pullback in equities the past few days, some technicals remain bullish for Philippine stocks. Now here to share more about what to expect, we have with us Tina Ulang of First Metro Investments. Good morning, Ms. Tina. Welcome back.
Hello. Hi, good morning, Danny. Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being on the show. Ma'am, let's kick off with, how we're opening here, no? And how these charts are doing. We still see this golden cross forming, no? When we look at the equities, even as the past 3 days, we've seen quite a strong resistance at 7,000 level. Give us more insight into this. Where is the trend going? Is it still upwards, at least for the short term?
I think there is some momentum still because the foreign investments have come in, and year to date we're in a net foreign buying position, and we've reached like almost more than 1 billion pesos in foreign buying weeks ago or a few days ago. And I think this is one thing that we don't have last year, because we were on net foreign selling last year amounting to about 1.2 billion US dollars. So this is the main difference, and the drivers of this foreign buying are very much related to the valuation, and then the policy shift and the economic prospects. And I must say the economic prospects are very good. We are being supported by our strong fiscal policy, and just announced is some 372 billion US dollars worth of infrastructure spending for the entire duration of for the entire term of the current administration. So that's big news for us. And then there's another driver, which is the weakening dollar and a potential Fed downshift. So the Fed is not going to be hiking as fast as it did last year, like 75 basis points. It has to downshift, and the likelihood is that it may be just 25 basis points. So what does that do to us? It's going to weaken the dollar. It's going to reinforce the strength of the peso. And then Governor Medalla was saying very dovish in his inflation outlook, and saying that we might be looking at 2% back to the target of 2% inflation rate by early 2024. So these are all good news for the market, and I think this is what's gonna help the 7,000 become the new support, no longer the resistance. But the profit taking is testing. The ongoing profit taking is testing the durability of this emerging support at 7,000.
Okay, but you believe you're keeping the faith here, ma'am. Let's go back to your story on the net foreign buying, no? How much more can we expect from the foreigners to come back in, especially after we saw a drought basically of 2 years worth of net foreign selling, and now with the peso at 7-month strength, you mentioned that dollar weakness is good, but is this still good, especially if they convert their dollars to peso? It will be less than what it was at least a few months ago.
Not too bad. From 59 to 57, like 56 and 55, not too bad. Especially that we are a net importing country, especially of fuel, energy, and then fertilizer, and all related to food. And we're suffering from food inflation. So it works that it will work for our benefit that the peso dollar now is a very stable, testing a 54 level, and will help improve our inflation more than it will squeeze the purchasing power of the people who are earning in dollars. And also, the trend is such that we are in this part of the world where growth is still robust. The global economy is going to be slowing down like 1.7% in terms of global GDP growth, but the Philippines is like rolling on 6%. Go, up to 7% potential this year. So that's good news for corporate earnings. And of course, our valuation, that is also a big difference. Our valuation now is just 12 to 13 times PE. What's the valuation in the US? They're doing at 18 times PE. So very high, and given the recession risk, where will you go? Foreign funds will have to reconsider other areas of growth like the Philippines. Of course, it's North Korea, Taiwan that they are very bullish on. India and China reopening party. They have a party there. And we could be partaking of the piece of the action once they go regional Asia.
Okay. Ma'am, can you give us a bit more nuance on your growth prospects for the Philippines, no? Because you've got the fourth quarter, as per Finance Secretary Diokno, that's going to come in higher. The full year will be higher than expected, 7.5% now for the fourth quarter. But then when you look at the other houses, the foreign houses, looking at 2023, they're saying it's going to be a tougher year. Some are projecting or downgrading below 5% growth. Where do you stand, between these two? The government very bullish, and some still saying that there's some headwinds still.
We are of the view that our economy is very much consumption led. So we are not like North Korea, Taiwan, which are very much connected to the global export supply chain. So we are driven by a young population, strong spending power, very much domestic driven, and so we are in a way shielded from the global headwinds coming from the US, the Western economies who are undergoing a recession. So and then we have this complement coming from the fiscal arm, coming up with these projects, infrastructure, fueling our employment rate, and it's now improving the labor. The unemployment rate is receding now. It's improving, and it's just going to be furthered by the fact that we have this infrastructure spending, and of course the BSP is saying that the liquidity conditions are going to be improving as well. So the lending spree of banks are going to be continuing and sustainable. So those are some of the factors that will help the economy be shielded from the global headwinds.
All right, let's go to specific sectors here. No, before you came on air, ma'am, we did report on the Pogo issue. So according to President Marcos Jr., no rush to do an outright ban, but you still have a lot of issues when it with regards to Pogo on the table. How is that affecting the outlook on the property sector? Is this a big enough issue of concern, or is this just a drop in the bucket when we look at the property space, even talking about REITs?
REITs are very much driven by BPO, and I think the Pogo is a very small part of the gross leasable space of the property sector. The worry is more on the social costs and outweighing the benefits of having them in our economic sphere, and of course the taxes that we gain from them. But I think the property sector is very much hedged against any potential departure or diminution of the occupancy coming from the Pogo, because we have this just now this expansion of the REIT space into renewable. Good announcement coming from CREIT, and they're very bullish about their green bonds and their expansion towards like 700 hectares. And so the REIT space is evolving to include new areas of activity, not just BPOs. And of course, Pogo, very small. It's going to be a smaller part as the REIT space evolve, and as office space also take in new models, and becoming more creative and innovative in their rental portfolio mix.
Ma'am, comparing REIT investment to just investing directly into the property stocks, what is the better play here for investors this year?
REIT is some kind of a hybrid. It gives you the cash flow coming from the dividends. They're high dividend paying stocks, especially if you were able to come in at the very low. When some of the issues were below their IPO price at the height of the rate hiking cycle, Fed and the BSP. So if you're able to take advantage of the very low prices, then you will be getting handsome dividends. So they're like a hybrid there. And on top of that, aside from the dividends, you get also the gain coming from the capital appreciation, because you're able to come in very low price, below IPO. And now, if interest rate cycle is going to be like moving lower, and the BSP is going to be downshifting to slower interest rate increases as messaged, then the REITs are going to be improving in prices. So you will be gaining, the investors going to be gaining both in terms of high dividends and capital appreciation. So that's one main attraction of REITs compared to just having an exposure to your typical property issues. But the property issues now, Ayala Land, SM Prime, they're all reopening place, and there are a lot of pent-up demand in the system that's yet to be unleashed for this year. 2023 is will show us the big impact of the reopening story and pent-up demand. If you're just going to look at the car sales, we got 30% growth to 350,000 units sold in 2022, despite the rising auto loan rates. Pent-up demand, a lot of revenge spending there.
All right, so consumption still, firing here on all levels. Thank you so much. Lingering there. Thank you so much for that optimism. We have Tina Ulang of First Metro Investments. For more updates, visit News 5, the Philippine Star and Business World online, or visit our website, onenews.ph, for more in-depth analysis. You can also catch One News on the Signal Play app. Register for a free account now. That's at www.signalplay.com, and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Danny Laurel. Join us again at 11:15 a.m. We are One News, all sides, all the time.